Hello and welcome to hopefully a quick tutorial on how to track drums using EZdrummer and use some of its basic features. So first of all, we go up to channels, add one and find EZdrummer in this list. If it's not there, click more at the top, click refresh at the bottom of this list and fast scan. Now scroll down through the various plugins and find EZdrummer. Make sure it's checked and double click to open it. Now here's the EZdrummer interface. The first thing you're going to see is the full drum kit set up like this. Once the plugin's loaded fully, which is indicated by a progress bar on the bottom right, you can click on each individual part of the kit to test the sound. So the first step to customising your drum sound is to set the sound of each individual part of the kit. We can start with the kick by clicking on the downward arrow here, and we can simply change from a felt beater to a plastic beater by clicking on it. Then we can change from a plastic beater to an open kick. You can try every sound in the list and find one that you like. Then we can move on to the snare and do the same thing here. Alternatively, for a quick way of doing the same thing, you can click down on the presets on the top left for a default kit, to a tight kit, to an ambient, to a basic kit. You can try all of them and find a sound that suits you. Once you have your drum kit sounding how you want it to sound, click the Open Mixer button on the bottom left. This will bring up various faders which correspond to different parts of the drum kit. So the first fader, this controls the volume level of the kick drum. So moving it up will increase the volume of the kick drum, and moving it down will decrease the volume of the kick drum. You can also adjust the panning. So if I was to move this slider all the way to the left, this will pan the kick drum hard left. If I move it to the right, it will pan the kick drum hard right. You can do this with the snares, the hi-hat, the tom and the overheads. It will be a case of experimenting to find a sound that you want. Another thing you can adjust is the room. This gives a sort of ambience to your drum kit. So if you were to move the room fader all the way down, this will give the effect that your drum kit is being played in a dampened soundproofed studio, for example. If you were to move it all the way up, it will give a reverby-like effect as if it was being played in a hall or a church. Once again, experiment and find a sound that suits your track. Now another way of doing more or less the same thing as this is to set each part of the drum kit to a track on the Fruity Loops mixer. Then you could add individual effects like reverb, equalization and compression to different parts of the drum kit. So to do this, right click on track 1 in the output section below the kick and select multi-channel. Now you can close the mixer and go to the top left of the EZdrummer interface and click the little cog, which is the wrapping settings. Then click on the processing tab, and each one of these corresponds to a different part of the drum kit. For example, number 1 is the kick drum. So if I move the output to 1, this corresponds to the first output on your Fruity Loops mixer, where you can add individual effects, change the volume and the panning using the Fruity Loops mixer if that's what you're more comfortable with. So, moving on. Once you have the volume, panning and room effects configured in the mixer, it's time to actually track some drums. And there's 3 different ways of doing this with EZdrummer. The quickest and easiest is using the preset grooves that come with EZdrummer. To do this, click Open Grooves at the bottom, select the EZD Pop/Rock library on the left, and then you're presented with various different timings, BPM and feels of drums. Each timing comes with its own fills and different genres of each groove: pop rock, funk rock, Motown, ballad and side stick. Some have more than others. So I'll start in 4/4 straight using pop rock. I'm presented with 40 different grooves, and to find the one that suits your song, it will be a case of just going through and listening to each groove. To the right of the grooves you have different playing variations of each track. You can change, for example, the speed of the hats and whether the hats are played closed or open. Here's the groove 0-1, hats 4 hard closed. And I can go up and try it in 8ths and even 16ths. I can also add ghost notes if I want to. and try with a ride symbol. So once you've selected the right groove, to add it to a pattern, select an empty pattern, right click on the DFH sampler and click the piano roll. Once the piano roll is open, go back to the EZdrummer interface, click on the groove you want to use and drag it to the piano roll, and accept the import of the MIDI data. You now have one section of your drum track. To listen to it, play the pattern. Now to get the pattern into the playlist, simply click the draw tool in the playlist and select the pattern that the drums are located in and click in the playlist. You can drag and move them anywhere in the playlist to different tracks, or you can put them in the patterns. So if my drums are in pattern 6, find pattern 6 and you can simply put them in the step sequencer. And I'll play the song. Now, to add a little bit of variation, you can add a fill pattern to your drum track. So I'll open a new pattern and open EZdrummer back up and click fills above pop rock. I'll click 4/4 fills 1, and there's 20 different variations of different fills, starting from fill 01 mid all the way up to fill 20 mad. Once again, search through and find the fill that suits your music. I'll choose fill 7 comp at random, and to add that into your track, in the same way, in a new pattern, right click on the DFH sampler, select the piano roll and drag it into the piano roll. Accept the import of the MIDI data again, select pattern and listen to it. And in the exact same way as before, we add it to the playlist using the draw tool. Simply click in and drag it. Now I'll play the first drum track when it's all together. That was a little out of time, but you get the idea. It's as easy as that, putting drums together in about 2 minutes, you've got a realistic sounding drum track. There's hundreds of different variations, different grooves, different genres and fills to try in the preset grooves. Another way to track your drums using the EZdrummer is to manually input the notes using the piano roll. To do this, select a new pattern, right click on the DFH sampler and click piano roll. Each piano note on the left corresponds to a different part of the kit. For example, C3 is the bass drum. Above that, we've got the snare drum, and across we have different parts of the kit. So we can gradually build up our drum kit from the ground up. I'll start with the bass drum by simply using the draw tool to click in and add the notes like such. Play the pattern and you can gradually build up your beat. Add some hats. And it's as easy as that to build up a drum track using the piano roll. Now to save some time, you can select the notes, press Ctrl and C to copy and Ctrl and V to paste, use the draw tool again and drag it to the right. This will save you time rather than clicking in each individual note when you can simply just copy and paste if you want to repeat one pattern. So once you've created the pattern, you can get it into the playlist in exactly the same way. So click the View Playlist button on the top right, select the pattern, and then simply using the draw tool, click inside the playlist. I'll play the song. So there we've used the piano roll to create our own unique drum track and enter it into the playlist. So I hope this tutorial has been of some use to you today. Let me know what you think, if you have any more questions, if you think I've missed anything out. And subscribe if you like it, because I'll be adding more tutorials to get different sounds from Fruity Loops. If you want to hear the drums that I make in action, look on my channel and look at some of the songs that I've made using EZdrummer and made in Fruity Loops. Thank you.